Now, Eric, my guy, as I mentioned to the listeners, we're going to be having Eric as a repeat guest in the future. And a big reason why, the only reason why, is that he's our resident Warriors expert right now. As you know, I'm joking. But in terms of the only reason why, but you're our resident Warriors expert right now. The Warriors this year, they just reported not too long ago that Klay Thompson is probably going to be coming back to full practice within the next month.
And a month, yeah.
This season, I was very high in a previous podcast. I was very high on the Warriors, and I predicted the Warriors were going to make it to the finals. Now, we've had a few preseason games. Jordan Poole's going off. It's madness over there. Now, Eric, please break down the Warriors for us.
All right. So I didn't hear about that you think the Warriors are going to finals. I also think the Warriors are going to finals, and they're going to be finals champions. I want to put, and I will put a small little bet on the Warriors to win the finals.
What are the odds?
I gotta look them up,
Okay.
but I'll have them by the end. But the reasons why I do think the Warriors are having a good shot to make the playoffs, win in the playoffs and make it to the finals is because they actually have a roster with depth and not just these young guys that they just picked up to fill up spots. Like, I'm looking at the roster right now. We got Otto Porter Jr. That's a nice 3 backup that replaces Kelly Oubre Jr. And Kelly, I liked him, but he really did nothing for us. So Otto Porter doesn't have to do anything, and if he plays defense, he's doing more than what Kelly Oubre did. Like you said, Jordan Poole, I was not expecting. I'll be honest, he's caught me off guard. He looks like a smaller Klay Thompson-esque player, just shoots the ball. And I remember watching him when he was a rookie. I wasn't a big Jordan Poole fan, I'll be honest. I thought he was a player taking advantage of Klay not being there, just chucking up shots. But what I wasn't realizing was that he was kind of perfecting his craft and working through that as a rookie. Because now when I look at him, I saw the shots he was taking as a rookie. They were terrible shots. Now I think he understands what shots he's got to make or what shots he can make. Wiggins, he's our 3. We got Iguodala back, man. That's a nice veteran piece that's going to rotate with our young guys like Wiggins. He's never played with them. Porter, I would say he's relatively 30s, young-ish. He's not super young, but James Wiseman, that's who I think Iguodala is going to help a lot, or Iguodala is going to help Wiseman, because Wiseman learned a lot from Green, but from Iguodala, it's just going to be so much more. And I'm not even talking rookies yet. Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, like those guys are going to be key pieces. This is reminding me of when we got Harrison Barnes and Festus Ezeli and Draymond Green. That was one draft. Like, this is reminding me a lot of that team. And I haven't even talked about Curry yet. I haven't even said a single word about Curry. Curry is the best player in the NBA. He makes all these players a lot better. This team is looking like we were before, and I'm very excited to see what this team can do this year.
Best player in the NBA, Stephen Curry?
Absolutely.
Jeff, do you have a rebuttal for that as a Nets fan?
You know, we pride ourselves on this podcast to not be biased. So I'll let everybody know that was a very biased take that just happened right there. But granted, I'll give you some things. I did mention that I have Curry as my MVP for this year, like in our last podcast. I did also mention how I do believe in the Warriors as a whole. I did pick the Lakers to make it to the finals.
Yes.
Granted, my betting favorite for the year was championship winning the Warriors. That's a good place to get a bet in. A little bit think it was like plus 800,
No,
8,000 when I last saw it.
it's 10-1 from what I'm seeing right now for them
10
to
to
win
1.
this year.
Okay. So yeah, they definitely are an interesting one to pick, and potentially get some good change in your pocket. But there's a few things that I'll say that I liked about a few other things I will say that I liked about what you're bringing to this conversation about the Warriors, and it more is along the lines of Jordan Poole. And we've talked about him a few times now on the pod, and he's making me a believer out of what he's doing. A few numbers you want to hear is the dude's going 20. He's scoring 23.3 points per game. He has 3.5 assist point per game, 3.5 rebounds, and shooting off of 42, 40, and 85 splits. And obviously, he's taking a lot of threes as well. So he is putting himself right in the conversation for most improved player, sixth man of the year, and I I can't refute that they'll be at least the last four to the last two to being even the last team left this at the end of this season. But there's a few things that I
Wait,
will
let me
mention
let
that.
let me just throw this in there because you just made me remember this. I think I saw that Steve Kerr said that he's going to actually start Jordan Poole at the 2, Clay at the 3. I forget who would be the 4, and then Green would
Draymond.
be the 5. Maybe
Oh,
no, Green would be the 5. I think Wiggins would play the 4 or Iguodala. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I read that he wants to start Poole as
small
well.
ball.
So that's what it's funny that you mentioned it, but I don't. I think the Iguodala signing is more of a nostalgic like signing.
I think it's a
Um,
veteran signing, just so he's there.
I think that he's a little bit out of what you should expect him to be. He's going to be more of like that veteran presence, much like you were mentioning, that will help the younger guys know where they need to be on the court rather than actually making a big impact. Because I don't see that out of him at this point of his career. You see, in some of the years he was in that time that he was with the Heat, what he looked like. He looks kind of like a shell of what he used to be. But he definitely does have that knowledge that he could give to these young guys that the Warriors have. And I've told Brian in the past is there's something about this depth that intrigues me because it's you have an influx of two different ways on this team. One is it's speaking towards the young players that need to learn, they want to get better, and they're going to compete. Then you have guys that are born ready winners. Like they already know what it is to win, what it means to win. They already proven it. Their confidence is always through the roof because they just know what to do. So having a mixture of both of that on one team is something interesting. And honestly, um, I think the Nets have a similar situation as you, where they have the young guys and the born ready winners, that's gonna be on one team. But the Warriors definitely have a better version of that, where you have a mix of all of that. But besides that, I don't know uh about them winning the championship is going to be the last thing I'll land on is um I think even in the situation of playing, if they don't face the Nets, if they face a team like the Bucks, that's a situation where the lineup that you just brought up, that small ball, cannot sustain the type of team that the Bucks are. It would be too much of an issue from the inside to the outside. Unless if who's guarding everyone on that floor in that series, and that's where I'm having a lot of my qualms with what would happen with that in the finals.
Agree. I do agree that the Jordan Poole starting, that's more of, in my opinion, that offensive roster. like if when we need buckets and all that. But I think Jordan Poole would not be there if we were in a defensive mode. I think Wiggins would be there. Maybe Iguodala if it's a good matchup. I don't even know who else. Jonathan Kuminga, I didn't even mention. He's a nice rookie. Let's see if he could play some defense. All these guys. But yeah, at least we have size now. We have depth. That's something we just haven't had since we've made a run before and all these injuries.
Yeah, Eric, do you think, because Jeff mentioned all these Jordan Poole numbers and this man's going off, do you think this is legit? Because right now this man's shooting 40% from three on 10 attempts a game. Do you think this is sustainable for him? Because right now, sorry, please
yeah.
go.
No. I think that these could definitely be real numbers. I don't think he'll sustain all this the whole year. If he does, then he's got to be starting. He's like on the potential to be a great starter. But I think that when you're practicing with Curry, when you're practicing with Thompson, you're gonna be shooting. You're gonna try to beat them, and he seems like he has that competitiveness in him that he's taking a lot of shots, and he's making like I've seen him. I like to call him like a flamethrower. Like he just starts making, and he just doesn't stop. And it's gonna sound terrible being a Warriors fan. I remember Curry's out for a game, and I know Thompson's out, so when they're both out, that's pretty much like who's going to score for this team. I bet on the other team. I might have been like the Nuggets or something. Like it was a hard team for them to beat. Bro, Jordan Poole went off and made me eat my words. He made me lose my money because they won the game because of him. Forget what game specifically, but he's ready to have a breakout year. I think it's just the right situation. Plus, it's with Curry and Thompson. One of them's going to be open. Like you can't guard all three of these guys, or the paint's wide open. Then, like, I don't know. I do agree with you, Jeff. Though, like, they're not the biggest team, they're not the strongest team, but neither was the Warriors that won the championships before. They kind of were the outscore you, out defense you, whatever it was. But I don't know who's guarding Giannis when they play each other. I'm gonna guess Green. He might get bodied, might be a little slow, but it's okay.